Hello everybody, RetroBeard here. How you all doing? Let's get started with today's news and stuff. So, this is a good one, I suppose, for many people. Sony is expecting the PlayStation 5 sales shortages to cease and stabilize by 2024. I suppose that's a good one, but it's also not so good because 2024 is still, a while away. We're only just touching on halfway through 2022, so that's good news, but it's also something you would expect. They're saying that the leadership of PlayStation believes that once issues with COVID-19 and Russia, the Russian-Ukraine doodah, I'm trying not to say the word, are settled, the PlayStation 5 will surge in sales. Yeah, so basically it's the same old chip shortage and global goods transporting excuses and issues and reasons. I mean, that's pretty harsh. Although I've got to admit it, PlayStation 4s, at least in the UK, have started becoming a lot more common. If you really want one, you can get one now. Like the pawn shops and the second-hand shops have always got them in, and more websites have got them. Yeah, so I don't know about the rest of the world. But still, it's news. I personally think by 2024, the PlayStation 5 will be a console past its midlife. Because when did it come out? Was it... So I've not really kept up to date with these new consoles as much as some people. Was it last year? I don't remember. Was it the year before? I mean, it'll be halfway through its generation. Is that an exciting bit of news? I'll leave that with you. You can say hallelujah or you can say whatever. I'll leave that with you guys. Next one is regarding games that are leaving Game Pass. But before I start on this article, I would like to apologise for yesterday. Due to an inaccurate article, I told you about the Games with Gold selection for June, and I actually unwittingly said the Game Pass lineup, so I'm sorry about that. I take that on the chin. I'm only human, but yeah. Back to topic. Game Pass is losing 7 games today. Hopefully this is in for correct information. I'm making a prat of myself. Let's have a look. Let's see what's going, if it's going to tell us and not. Okay, May the 31st, which is today, is the last day that Xbox Game Pass subscribers can play EA Sports NHL 20. Although it's available to Xbox Ultimate subscribers through the EA Play integration. That's something then. Anyway, Farming Simulator 19, Knockout City, Resident Evil 7, Spellforce 3, Soul Harvest, Super Hot, Mind Control, Delete, and yes, Your Grace. And they're still currently available to buy at a 20% discount. But once June comes, which is tomorrow, I believe, they're gone. So let's have a look. Yep, so hopefully you guys aren't huge fans of those games. And if you are, well, this is the downside to this service and its digital future that everybody's encouraging to happen, which I don't really play a part in happening because I don't believe in digital future. I like the old-fashioned format. I mean, I like having access to digital games, but I like it as a complementary service, not as a replacement. And this is another reason why I won't truly invest in new-gen equipment, because I think it's going to go in a rubbish direction where they can just take away our games and stuff and set the prices, and too many companies join in just a few people. It's not going to look nice. It's going to be a monopoly. And I have been umming and ahhing just recently to get an Xbox Series S, but not because I'm jumping onto the new generation full speed ahead, but because I'm actually kind of reducing my footprint in the Xbox ecosystem. So I wouldn't join Game Pass. I would sit there with my humongous Games with Gold catalogue and back compat and digital purchases from the past and just sit there and dig in. So, but to each their own. I'm not here to preach. And I'm here to try and redeem myself. The Xbox Games with Gold June 22 lineup. We have 2 games so far of the lineup. So not the entire one, but at least I can get us started. We're getting Aven or Aven Colony, which is a game I've looked at since the Xbox almost first came out. It has interested me, but I've never got around to getting it for the Xbox One. And Super Meat Boy, which I believe I've already got, so that's a bit of a disappointment. But congratulations for all you folk who don't have it. So, yeah, hopefully the next couple of games will be actually, yeah, look at that. We'll ignore that. Hopefully the next couple of games this month will be class. Some pretty awesome news. The Embracer Group have been forming an archive to preserve games history, a secret vault with 50,000 games and counting so far. And I believe they're the ones who have bought a load of Nintendo just recently. They've got the fingers in a lot of pies like Konami and stuff, I believe. Yeah, they are building a vault in Sweden to preserve games and games equipment and objects. So that is fantastic. It means these guys have got the money and the means to do something with this stuff, assuming they can access the copyright aspect of it. So hopefully it's not just some nerd's personal hoard. It's actually going to be something that benefits all of us. But video games preservation is absolutely essential, because we're going to lose stuff. And I know some people think it's irrelevant, they roll their eyes, but let me say a point. You know, and this is regards to movies, so forgive me. You know, in the early 1900s, when movies were very new in cinematics and all that, and they made a lot of films and stuff, and of course there wasn't TV channels and TV stations, and there was more like, you know, projectors and early cinematic equipment. A lot of films that were made have been lost forever. The original film's been destroyed in fire, down to dampness, poor storage, chucking it away, etc., rot and all that. We've lost, beyond any way of recovering it, tons of media, and that is treasure gone forever, and there's no way of seeing it or knowing it. And that's just our recent history, relatively speaking. And I would imagine since the dawn of time, the same has happened with music and the early version of what became theatre plays and shows. All that cultural treasure of the human race, because this just isn't about our countries. This is about the humanity's media and shows and treasures and music and experiences. It's lost forever. And we're already starting to have that happen in its very early stages to computer games. And somebody with the money and the power needs to do what they can. I mean, all the folk banging these ROMs on the internet and stuff, they've done amazing work towards preservation, in spite of companies like Nintendo being sour grapes who take away games even though they don't give them themselves. These, you know, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, companies like Sega and all that, they've got a responsibility, but they're shirking their responsibilities. I would say probably Xbox has done the best job, but it's still not proper. True backwards compatibility should not just be a digital store, or not just pop in some of your discs. It should be a functioning emulator or hardware solution like it used to be in the old days, where you pop a disc in or a cartridge in, all the games work in the entire library, minus an absolute tiny amount that, you know, don't work properly. Like how the Xbox 360 runs Xbox original discs for the most part. PlayStation 3 runs PlayStation 1 discs for the most part. The early PlayStation 3s ran PlayStation 2 as well discs, and that kind of thing. That's true preservation, but a matching digital store with most, if not all, the content on it is also important. So yeah, I'm glad somebody with money and power is starting to go down this direction. Hopefully it will benefit us. I take my hat off to the folks who do emulators and the folks who do ROMs and the people doing the hardware solutions like the Mister Project and these Mega Drive and Nintendo hardware solutions. So yeah, anybody contributing to preservation of our equipment and our games and our experiences are heroes to me. And if they're making profit, that's fine. I'm not against profit, but you know, currently no one's doing a proper job commercially. So with Xbox doing half the job, which is better than nothing, but yeah, if your Xbox One and your Xbox Series consoles could run discs natively of the whole library with a proper emulator on board, then I would be impressed. So, but I mean, and PlayStation, I hate their direction with all this PS stuff where you pay money and stuff and you get a limited library of dodgy games, and Nintendo's efforts are pathetic. I'll leave it at that. But anyway, subject change. I take my hat off to Embrace, and I don't think I've actually read half the article. But what the heck, you get the idea. Next, PS Plus, this new PS Plus, I don't know the name of the full things, I don't pay much interest. They've attempted to fix their PS1 PAL games, but they're making them worse. As you can see, it's a bit shimmery and blurry, for lack of a better better words. It appears that Sony on their new service are using PAL ROMs, which PAL, I come from PAL territory, obviously. I think my accent gives that away. But when you're playing the global versions, you really want NTSC versions with the full speed and all that. We made do with PAL games back in the day, and obviously when I buy second-hand, I often get PAL versions, but my equipment is aligned with it and it copes with it, and it's how I remember it. But yeah, it's a poor showing, and God knows why they use PAL ROMs for. Perhaps there's a technical reason, but when you think blokes in their bedrooms with computers can make amazing emulators, surely the mighty Sony can make emulators for their own actual equipment that they invented, but whatever. So, yeah, this service is released in Asia and it's going to be spreading, but they've got a lot of problems. And this is, I smelt some serious problems with the whole, when I first heard about the whole thing, I thought, hey, this is just a monetization system where, you know, you feel you're getting the old stuff, but I don't know, it's hard to explain, but this digital future and this subscription-based future, this is showing the problems, and Nintendo's system is showing. I mean, I love the Switch, don't get me wrong, I love the Switch Online, but I'm not attached to the digital side of it. It's just a tool. I like the cartridges, and if they ever phase out the cartridges and go cloud, pure cloud and stuff, I would no longer use Nintendo either. So I'm not loyal. I'm loyal to those who are behaving appropriately to because we're customers. We have the right to say we want this, we want that. It doesn't mean we're going to get it, but we have the right. And if we don't get it, we have the right to go to a competitor, or in my case, look backwards and enjoy the games of the past. Like all these so-called PlayStation 1 games I've got on disc, I just put into my real PlayStation 1 and play them. And people say, oh, well, what about picture quality? I'm like, yeah, well, I've got RetroTinks. I've got the I can't remember the name of it. It's a bit like a RetroTink, but it's ready-made to connect to your TV. Gamingcables.co.uk sell it. I've got one of them. I've got good component cables. I've got obviously my PlayStation 3 solution, and obviously I've got emulation if needs be. I've got a CRT and a PlayStation 1 with really good RGB SCART cables, gold-plated ones. I've got special memory cards that hold the equivalent of like 3 to 5 memory cards and more. I've got a pretty decent setups with various options. I don't need somebody to throw breadcrumbs at me while I pay them whatever it is a month. So, I mean, to each their own. I'm not preaching you guys should do this. And I think some of you do something equivalent. I mean, if somebody's happy with this service is brilliant. But I'm going to go now because I am really, really going off on some tangents today. So take care of yourselves. This is RetroBeard signing off. Bye for now. Thank you very much. See you later.